it's about interlinking the various programs that we are doing. There are so many good practices out there, and you learn these practices, share it, and then somebody else also takes it up.
Today we have with us Aman Pannu, who's the head of corporate communications and CSR at DCM Shriram Limited, and has over 21 years of experience with a diverse set of organizations in domains like retail, chemical, and agriculture. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Aman. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So to begin with the conversation, can you just elaborate on the various projects and programs that DCM Shriram is currently working on, considering the group itself is like a huge conglomerate with a diversified set of business operations and portfolios. So how are you aligning activities in this CSR projects to those verticals?
Sure. So I think, I'd like to give a perspective to DCM because we have a history of more than 130 years, right? And our founder, Sir Shriram, is somebody who was a philanthropist. And he did a lot in terms of giving back to the society, working with the communities. And I think our entire CSR policy and our vision is kind of based on that. So when we talk specifically of DCM Shriram Limited, the CSR verticals or the areas that we work are in 4 key areas. The first one is preventive healthcare and sanitation. The second area is education, livelihood, and vocational skills that we work in. Then specifically, we work on a lot of areas on education, environment sustainability, and also on rural development, right? So when, you've just mentioned about the fact that we are a conglomerate, and I think how we leverage that entire scope is that we have a pan-India geographical presence, right? So because of that, we have a lot of feet on ground. So when we work in CSR domain, we're not only looking at funding, various programs that we are doing, we actually have our team members present on ground along with various implementation partners so that the social impact of the projects that we are doing is actually multifold, and it's not only specific to one area, but if you look at all of these areas that I spoke about, it's an overall development of the communities that we are working on. And specifically, we do a lot of work in Kota and Rajasthan, in Bharuch in Gujarat, and Hardoi and Lakhimpur Kheri in Uttar Pradesh. So these are our basic geographic expanse that I'm talking about.
Great. And like you mentioned, so I just picked one project at a time. So talking about the education domain per se that you're working in.
Right.
So a few projects, Khushali Rozgar and Khushali Shiksha. So which is basically the jobs and the education bit of the programs. So
Right.
How do you intend to make that kind of a sustainable programs to provide the children with the basic education as well as like a future sustainable job opportunity for them?
Right. So like you rightly said, when we talk about Khushali Shiksha, the work that we're doing is in the primary schools there, right? So this is in Hardoi, Lakhimpur district, where we work in around 62 villages, and we're working in government schools there. Our implementation partner here is Pratham Education Foundation, and it's on basic learning skills that we are changing there, right? So our work till now is specific to what we are doing in the schools and also in the communities. And I think there is a learning that, this entire COVID pandemic has given us, where once the schools had shut, it was easy to think, oh, now we really can't go out and do anything with the children. But because of us already operating in the communities, it kind of became easier for us to have volunteers there and working with them. So I think this entire scope of, how do you make sure that your impact continues? There is a continuity in the projects that you're doing, the sustainability aspect that we're talking about. So I think that is being done very beautifully in Khushali Shiksha project as it goes, and where we were touching lives of, say, around 4,500 children. I think I'm very happy that today we're at least reaching out to 1,500 children there, right? And this entire year, our scope is going to be, how do you make sure that you reach out to 100% of those children, which otherwise would not have been a possibility. The other initiative that you spoke about, Khushali Rozgar, where we work in 2 areas basically. So we have a Silai school. We have 2 Silai schools, again in Loni and in Ajbapur. This is again in UP. and we are teaching young girls and women Silai, right? And it is about giving them entrepreneurship models. It's about just them just going out and doing tailoring work. How do you make them more empowered? So that was the entire initiative. And similarly, we have a digital literacy campaign also, where we have a tag with NIT Foundation for the course curriculum. And again, I'm linking everything back to this scenario where we are today, and how have we maintained the continuity of our existing program. So, with schools being shut, naturally, the trainings and all, even in colleges, everything had come to a stop still, right? So it was about how do we actually make these young girls, women still stay active, some sort of an empowerment that we could do with that. So naturally, the need for the face mask was something which everybody was talking about, right? And we had a lot of need that came from the local administration within our organization, where people wanted these face masks. So we actually used these Silai school women and girls to make around 20,000 face masks, right? So we've been able to achieve that scale and made sure that we continue this. Now again, going forward, there will be a need where it'll kind of come down. How much of face mask you need, because from a replaceability, it takes a little bit of more time than the surgical mask. So we are working with these Silai school girls and women in terms of making recyclable cotton sanitary pads, right? Because we have a very strong healthcare program also called Khushali Sehat, and we have village level volunteers who actually go and speak to adolescent girls, speak to mothers, and it's about interlinking the various programs that we are doing. And a point that I mentioned, it's very, very important that you calibrate everything together, right? So at this point of time, it was about seeing how is it that we can layer various programs on each other rather than looking at them in isolation, right? So the continuity in both Khushali Shiksha and Khushali Rozgar has been possible because of the scale-ups that we've been able to do in this entire process.
Wonderful. And it's really amazing that how you're actually thinking of the current times as well as are prepared for the future as well. So moving ahead, like you mentioned, the current times we are in, the COVID pandemic that it is. So it has already brought the sanitation aspect to the forefront. And since you also mentioned that you have a few initiatives running in the sanitation space, so how has that been affected, or would you say amplified by the current situation?
Right. So, as an organization, actually, we make chemicals also, right? But we do not make sodium hypochlorite, which was kind of the need of the hour at this point of time. So what we did was we repurposed our manufacturing facilities, both in Kota and Bharuch, and we started production of sodium hypochlorite, right? And this was donated and distributed to various state governments, local administrations for sanitization purposes, right? And also so we have a program called Shriram Swachhagrah, which is a sanitation program. And in this, what we used to do is, till last year, our focus was on school-led total sanitation, right? And again, with the schools being closed, we did not want to say that, when we are in touch with our communities, let's wait and, get this over with sort of a thing and move on. So we said, okay, let's move from our schools to the community-led total sanitation. So again, about changing the focus of the existing programs, right? This entire process has shown us, where we think that, people are complacent. Honestly, I don't think so. I think people have been extremely agile making these shifts, making the changes, because you had to overnight change your mindset. Where you're talking to children, you had to go now to households, right? So because in rural India, at least the focus has not shifted, where people weren't okay about going door to door, right? We had made sure that actually you have to look at all of these elements of safety, precautions, creating awareness, education. So all of this from a sanitation aspect happened door to door rather than happening in the community. And where our focus was, like I said, move to community, we started talking about ODF. We started talking about the fact how sanitation is important. And especially in the COVID scenario, it becomes even more important that these basic, health and hygiene things are the conversations we are having, right? Where we used to talk about simple things like कि हाथ धोना कितना जरूरी है. And now this was the entire case, right? You had to only talk about this, or safe distance, stuff like this. So these were conversations. Now we had to make sure that went down to rural India also, because it was not, when the pandemic started, people thought that, it's just urban phenomena, it's not really rural India. But you had the migrant labor who started going back, and we had basically set up COVID control rooms in our own areas through our partners, where we were reaching out to the migrant laborers who were coming back. We were in touch with the Gram Panchayat, with the A&M, with the ASHA workers, making sure that the migrant laborers are also educated, are aware, handing over sanitation kits to them. So there was a whole lot of things that had to start off, right? And now it's more about understanding what is the way forward. In our existing programs, how do we make this shift? To sit and wait for things to change, I think that is not something we were talking about. So it's about recalibrating the existing programs that we've done at this point in time.
And it's wonderful that how you're converting conversations into actions through your programs there. And like you also have like a background in communications, I would say. So you already understand the importance of it. And like you also mentioned that you've been conversing with the communities, seeing how the words and those dialogues can convert into actions in the later stage. So from that, so what you say is something that is missing from the current scenario in terms of the development sector, be it in terms of the communications with the communities or the communications by an NGO or an organization as such, can be improved, kind of take the whole idea forward of helping the society at large.
So, I think that a lot is being done, from the government perspective. Also, a lot of material that, we wanted sent out at that point of time, it was all available on the government website. So communication, I think, was easy to do, saying that, even if you're at home, it was about sending those WhatsApp messages. It was just about making people aware that this is the need, right? And we, even in DCM Shriram, we created a lot of scenarios where, we told our beneficiaries to make videos. So simple videos where somebody is making a face mask and talking about it. So you have local people talking in the local dialect, because that is what makes the impact. So these short videos were things that we put out on WhatsApp, on social media, so that a larger audience could take that through. And I think that I've seen across different organizations, and Deepak, the learning that we have had during this entire process with what other organizations are also doing, because they're sharing. And I think that is the key for all organizations today. I think this conversation also is only from a sharing perspective, right? There are so many good practices out there, and you learn these practices, share it, and then somebody else also takes it up. So you feel happy, okay, that, it's the social impact for what you're doing is actually going to increase.
And to just sum up the conversation and to bring it to a conclusion there, so what would you say would be some of the suggestions from your end for the development sector at large? And how is it that DCM Shriram is looking forward to venture into a few new thematic areas, or amplify the current ones going forward?
So just to talk about DCM Shriram, and then I could give an overall perspective. So when I spoke about recalibrating and replanning, I think because this happened in March, and everybody's planning for the next year. So naturally, whatever we had planned, everybody's, I'm sure, kind of fell flat, and you had to kind of rethink again. So the strategy for us was about continuity of our existing programs, right? We were very clear about the fact that the NGO partners that we are working with, the communities that we are working with, we did not want to cut our costs, because naturally most of your CSR budgets had moved from normal CSR to going into COVID expense, right? There were PM care funds. There are so many things that people had realigned to. Considering that, also we made sure that our existing program, so if it was a specific infrastructure need, we said, okay, let's push it. But when it was about behavior change, when it was about awareness, education, these were things that we made sure that we kept going forward. So for example, Khushaali Sehat, which I just spoke about, and healthcare is very, very important at this point of time. So in this program, we work with women in terms of reproductive health. We work on immunization, we work on vaccinations. So those were things that we knew we have to keep alive, right? We can't look at IMR and MMR a year forward. You will have to continue that. But, there were health camps that we used to do. So in a year, for example, if we were doing 350 health camps in 44 villages. So this program basically impacts 44 villages in UP. So we said that, we realize that naturally health camps are not a possibility today. So what do? We have village level volunteers who actually go and meet the communities, and we have doctors who are on board with us. So we rather looked at a teleconsultation format. Right? So the village level volunteers went and they asked people there if they had any health problems, because in urban India also, at this point of time, we don't want to go to our doctor for normal issues. Even if you have a cough, a cold, regular issue, have a stomach ache, you don't want to go. So we had looked at this teleconsultation format, and it's about saying how do we actually now change the way forward from a strategic point of view of your existing programs also, right? So like I spoke about Shri Ram Swachhagrah, our Silai School, it is about opting and looking at newer avenues. What is the need? So the entire assessment of the need of the communities is a relook, right? Being more agile is what is very, very important. And like I mentioned, at this point of time, certain organizations were more agile than others. So I think the need at this point of time is actually looking at agility, recalibrating from the development sector perspective. Also, we cannot only be looking at the COVID scenario, because naturally the impact that it's made is on the entire scale. You're talking about health, you're talking about socio-economic impact that has happened. So the diversity of what is going to happen to mankind is very, very strong. So the development sector also needs to step up, do more across these sectors, and I'm sure the government and corporate sector definitely needs to support, right? Because we've heard so many cuts that have happened in certain organizations which are not getting funding. So I would still feel that is very, very important for corporates also to look at, and for the government also to see how government and the development sector can work together. And in this entire process, we've also made sure that the impact of our programs, how can we work with more development sector organizations, even if it is only about knowledge collaborations, technical collaborations. So you might not do ground level work, but at least look at how is it that you can increase the impact of your existing programs. So those are some of the things that I think we should definitely look at.
And that's really nicely put in. It's been a total delight to talk to you, Aman, today. And that brings us to
Thank you.
Thank you so much again for joining us.
Thanks a lot.